God's blessing, prayer and success of the work. BD0862 from April 14, 1939, taken from book number 17. It is irresponsible carelessness if the Lord is not thought of before any work is started. If it is at a person's disposal to receive the Lord's blessing, which then makes all work easy and successful for him, and he does not pay attention to this blessing, then all burden and responsibility rests on his shoulders alone, and he will therefore have to toil and strain much more than if he entrusts himself to the Lord and appeals to him for his assistance. However, where the work on earth is successful even without the requested help and the human being believes he does not need God's blessing, good spiritual strength is not always involved in the success of the work but often arises with the support of opposing power in order to prevent the human being from turning to the Creator of heaven and earth in prayer for assistance. Therefore, an apparently successful striving on earth without recourse to the divine Lord must not be misleading or misjudged. The fallacy must not be drawn from it that the human being can very well do without divine help without suffering harm. Only as long as he is completely ignorant and thus does not consciously neglect the divine commandments to ask for blessing, no disadvantage will arise for him and he will be protected from the influence of the opposing power. But if he acknowledges an eternal deity and recognizes his creator and controller in his earthly existence, yet intends to carry out his earthly activity without his assistance, he will then often be offered resistance. He will have to recognize his powerlessness through failures and difficult successes. He will have to realize that he is not always in control of the success of his work. He will feel a certain resistance from above which he can overcome himself through right thinking. And if he has used his thoughts correctly and trustingly revealed himself to the Father in heaven and entrusted his work and its success to him, he will be honored with blessings from above and need never fear that they will be withdrawn from him as long as he desires to be blessed by God and expresses this through prayer and trusting devotion. To stand in God's blessing means to be able to go through life light-heartedly, to be relieved of earthly worries and to be able to hand over everything difficult to Him. And this awareness lets the human being go through life joyfully and cheerfully. He no longer bears the responsibility alone but has handed it over to the Lord, and only, where the human being falters in faith or becomes negligent in prayer, the hardships of life approach him again and drive him to renewed reflection on his own weakness without divine help, so that the human being clearly recognizes that his earthly path leads astray if he does not avail himself of divine help and consciously asks the Father in heaven for blessing. Amen.